Hello and welcome to the Wedding Dish Podcast. Grab your fork and knife and take a seat at our table as we dish on all things weddings. You'll hear stories and tips from real couples and wedding pros about love, life, and entrepreneurship. I am your hostess with the mostest on the Wedding Dish Podcast, Sarah Alapin, and I am also the CEO of Photos from the Hardy and District Bliss. And before we get started, if you haven't listened to last week's episode, you should go back and listen to it or flag it for later because it's my blind reacts to Vogue's 2025 trends and predictions. So today we are dishing with two experts who specialize in crafting unforgettable African honeymoons and romantic getaways, the humans behind Journeys by Emerge. Cayley and Michelle, thank you so much for joining me on the Wedding Dish today.
Thank you for having us, Sarah.
Lovely to be here.
I'm so excited to be dishing with you two. You all are just so fun. I love what you do, and I'm really excited to hear about Safari.
Well, we've got a lot to tell you.
Yes, I know. I can't wait. Let's dive in. So why is Safari such an amazing romantic getaway or honeymoon destination?
So Africa's always had an incredible romance to it, and going on a safari is like none other. It's exotic, it's unique, and very often it can be super luxurious as well. So apart from the destinations, there's also something deeply bonding about having an unrepeatable shared experience with your partner, with your beloved. And safaris offer that sort of experience every day. No game drive is ever the same. No animal is ever sitting under the same tree. And so it's a way to be able to disconnect, to reconnect, and really build a bond with your beloved. And then there's just some fantastic safari locations that really offer superb opportunities for luxury, superb opportunities for romance. It's super.
That sounds amazing. I think it would be so much fun. It also really does feel, I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine it feels very, very much like a private experience, even if you are with other people, because it is such a unique experience.
Yes, Sarah, and I think typically a lot of the lodges that we recommend for our guests are really small and intimate. So if you're going on a game drive, you can book a private game drive vehicle, or you're on a game drive with not more than 6 other people. So it really is small. It really is intimate. The lodges are small and intimate. It's remote, typically far away from everything else. And so it does become something very special for just the two of you.
Amazing. This just sounds perfect. Well, Africa is a huge continent, obviously. What are some of the places that you would recommend for honeymooners and folks looking to visit Africa?
So some of my favorite destinations to recommend would be a Tanzanian Serengeti safari trip, coupled with some time on the beach in Zanzibar. And what that really offers is the best of a safari in traditional Tanzania. You get the Serengeti, it's like iconic safari. But safaris can sometimes be action-packed and tiring in that you can be waking up early in the morning, you're doing evening game drives with sundowners, and so we like to follow that up with a little bit of a resort, some time on the beach where you can catch a bit of sun, just recoup before you go back to life after your wedding or life after your honeymoon. So that's one sort of circuit that I like to sort of speak about. Another one I like to speak about is what I call a Cape to Kruger sort of option. And that's really great for first-time visitors to Africa. You can fly into Cape Town direct from various places in America at the moment. So logistically, it's relatively easy. Cape Town offers a smorgasbord of things to do, see, eat, and experience. It's a fantastic destination from a wine point of view, fantastic for foodies. It's just won some like top restaurant cities in the world. And then you follow that with some time in, for example, the Kruger National Park or surrounding private reserves, where you can then take another couple of days on safari. So you're getting a bit of a city vibe, but also a safari vibe if you're wanting to, combine that sort of thing. Kay, what would you suggest?
I think, Sarah, as you said, it is huge. Africa is massive and there is so much to do. So this very much depends on the kind of couple we are speaking to. Are they wildlife mad? Are they about those beautiful islands and the beach vibes and the white sand? Or do they want something more adventurous and out of the ordinary? So for me, I really love Botswana. I think it's an incredibly romantic destination. It is very low tourism. So you've got small numbers of people going into high-end lodges, and you have the luxury of space there, which is really romantic. The opportunity to view game there from a Makoro alongside palm tree covered islands is really the ultimate picture of romance in my mind. The lodges there are some of the most romantic in Africa, and they also offer opportunities to sleep out or do something slightly more exciting. And then for our ultra adventure couples, I love to recommend something like guerrilla trekking. And gorillas is not something on most people's sort of anywhere in their mind when they're planning a honeymoon, but more and more young couples are deciding to do something completely different, completely out of the ordinary, and go and have an exceptional adventure together. And what better than a bucket list experience like guerrilla trekking with the love of your life? So really just so much to offer.
These sound amazing. I want to go on all of these vacations.
It's hard. The hard part is nailing down what it is that you're going to do.
That's what I was just going to ask. How do you choose between these options? I mean, I could see certain people opting in or out of guerrilla trekking because it's going to be something that would be probably a little bit more physically demanding and a little bit more rustic and adventure focused. But how do you choose? I mean, I guess that's why people come to you, so that you can help them figure out what is the right fit for each couple.
Well, first, I'm going to say you can do gorillas rustic and adventurous, but you can also do it super high-end and luxury. Some of the top lodges in Africa are in Rwanda, for example.
Huh.
But again, we're going to chat, we're going to sit down with the couple, we're going to find out what their interests are, what do they love doing together as a couple, and build something unique to them from there.
I love that. That sounds amazing. So, speaking of, what goes into the planning process for an African safari?
So, with that in mind, that's why we think it's really important to have someone on the ground, a destination expert that knows Africa well, that has been to these places. Africa is huge and it's diverse, and so it's really important to have someone that's been there and can really give you good advice. Like Cayley said, we focus on creating bespoke itineraries rather than a package, just a cookie cutter package deal. And we really want to tailor make that for our couples, and so that they know that getting something really memorable, something really individual, something really special to them. So how we work is we typically set up an online call with the couple, and firstly just get to know them a little bit, get to know what they like, what they don't like. Are they into wine, or actually no, they don't drink? Are they obsessed with penguins or giraffes, or actually they are big birders, and birds are really important to them. And so and that way we can get an understanding of, okay, they're quite adventurous, or actually they more sedentary, and they're not into the super activity based sort of options, and maybe they're more classic. And so a trip on a luxury train, like the Rovos Rail, for example, to Victoria Falls, or where they can see birds and have adventure and drink wine. We get to know the couple, and obviously they sometimes have an idea of what they definitely want and what they definitely don't want. And so we work within that. We work within their budget and their time allowances, because those are always two. We all like to dream, but those are two considerations we also need to take into account. And then we send them a proposal, and that's not the end of it. We like to tweak it. The couple will then give us feedback, and we like to work with them to tweak it, to rework it completely, whatever it takes, to make sure that each couple is getting something that they really like, what they really want, and that's going to suit their individualized needs. If I can just also say, part of that planning process is sometimes a little bit of advice.
Sarah. Yes, absolutely. So, hearing from us what we recommend, sometimes we have couples that will come to us and go, well, we already know exactly what we want to do. We want to climb this dune in Namibia, and then we want to go to Zanzibar for the beach, and then we want to go to Cape Town to drink some wine and see some penguins, and we have 8 days. And we've had couples that have come with that sort of itinerary. And we've said, that is a terrible idea, because you're going to spend 5 days of your honeymoon on transfers, cars, planes, and not actually enjoying anything. And we actually have a cheeky story of a couple that went ahead and insisted on doing that, and then called us halfway through their honeymoon to try and change it last minute, and try and find availability, and keep them in one place for a little bit longer. Yeah. So I think, again, we know where you're going. Africa is huge. You can't see it all unless you have, a good 3 months here, which most people don't for their honeymoon. And then the other thing that we will do to help your planning is we'll give you a packing list, because there's nothing worse than arriving somewhere unprepared. And so depending on the time of year that you're traveling, the sort of weather you're going to have in the areas that you're going to, and what you're going to be exposed to, we make sure that you have a list to make sure that you get it all.
That's so smart, because when we talked about this offline, but we had looked into going on safari, and we had to kick it into the future a little bit. But I learned about so much of the climate in these different areas. And for a lot of these game drives, you're getting up early in the morning at before the sun, and it's chilly. And then it's very warm during the day. So the packing list has a value that is so much higher than it sounds. Because I was emailing all of my friends that I had known that were on safari, and I was like, what did you take with you? How do you pack for this?
Layers.
You can't, yeah. You can't take a giant suitcase.
No,
especially if you're going on small charter flights, then you're quite restricted.
Mm-hmm.
We often speak to guests who are from areas that get really, really cold. And I know a lot of areas in the US have snow for a lot of the year and get really freezing. I've been in New York before in a polar vortex that was minus 13. And
Oh,
we
geez.
never, that's Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, sorry. But we never have weather like that in South Africa. It just doesn't exist for us. But when we say it's 5 degrees Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius, and you're going out on a morning game drive, you're not closed in on the vehicle is open, you're exposed to the elements, the wind is coming at you, there's no sun warming you up. You want to be really, really warm. And then you want to be able to take it all off because by 9 a.m. it's boiling hot.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. And those charter flights, man, they're brutal. If you are overpacked, you're out of luck.
They're going to make you unpack it.
Yes.
So
what are some of the
before everybody gets sorry, Sarah,
Go ahead,
everybody
Michelle.
gets worried, before everybody worries about what they're going to pack and the soft shell suitcase, and so not only will we send you a packing list, but a lot of the lodges on those early morning game drives will make sure that you've got a hot water bottle on your lap. They'll make sure that there's blankets. There will be hot chocolate and lovely coffee and things like that. And when it's warm, they'll do the opposite of what's required. So those little luxurious, so whilst we can't always help the weather, those little luxurious touches are things that lodges do offer. And just in terms of packing, if folks are really into photographic safaris and things like that, which is what we had discovered when we sat down with them and had a chat. Some lodges even offer use of specialized photographic equipment and binoculars. Some lodges even have their own photo editing rooms and things like that. So and that's advantageous because then you're not necessarily having to pack all of your huge camera gear and lenses and things like that into your smallish suitcase. But that's the kind of advice that we'd be able to offer folk, is don't pack this. This will be there waiting for you. Just bring your memory card kind of thing.
That's brilliant. How convenient. I love that. As a photographer,
nice
that's
touches.
like amazing. Yeah, little touches that really truly make a difference all around. So what are some of the travel trends that you're seeing in Africa right now?
That is a really good question, and trends change all the time. But some of the things, I suppose, that are more prominent that we've noticed is extended travel is a big one. And I think that's been going on for a few years now, especially now with people doing these sort of camper van trips around places and living a van life. People have more time off, they're more able to work from wherever they like. And so we're seeing more extended travel. So people will take a longer honeymoon, they'll spend more time in one place and really get to know the place and the area and the people and the culture. And that's a really fun way to travel. The other thing that we're seeing is sustainable eco-travel. And that's been a huge focus in Africa for a very long time. The nice thing to know is all the lodges that we work with are very sustainability focused and very conservation focused. And so just by traveling to some of these places, you're contributing to incredible programs. You don't even have to lift a finger to be part of it. But if you want to be part of it and if you want to do something that's more involved, we can absolutely plan that out for you as well. Another travel trend is quiet travel. And I think that speaks really well to the whole honeymoon travel, romantic travel thing, and what we were talking about earlier. It being remote, private, secluded, not too many people, all that stuff that just takes you away from this crazy hustle and bustle and land of excess and Instagram and TikTok that we all live in every single day. And suddenly you're out there with the sun waking you up and animals moving around you and back to the slow, quiet, beautiful, connecting life that you can share with your partner. So that's a big trend and something people are looking for more and more. Some of the places we work with in Namibia have been named quiet areas because there's no sound pollution in those areas at all.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's spectacular. You've never heard silence like the desert. And
Pardon the
then
pun.
people are looking for more adventure, you know. We're seeing couples not just doing the typical beach honeymoon, which is still lovely, and a lot of people still tag it on at the end because it is lovely, and you want to have some of that nice beach time with your partner, I guess. But a lot of people are looking for things like your guerrilla trekking, climbing dunes, kayaking down rivers, sleeping out on a sleeping out deck in the middle of the game reserve, with lions roaring in the distance at night. Anything that's just really different and really memorable. I mean, I think to sit with your partner 5 years down the line and go, oh my word, do you remember on our honeymoon when we were sleeping on that sleep out deck and those lions walked in front of us under the full moon, roaring in the night? How cool. And what a thing to share. Really, really special. So that's some of the trends that we've been seeing lately.
That sounds incredible. All of that. My parents went on safari right after they got married, and they got married. I think this year is 45 years ago. Um,
Amazing.
and yeah, they still talk about it all the time. Um, yeah, it sounds incredible. I can't wait to go.
Such a special
People
shared
often
experience for
say,
them.
yeah, people often say to us, this is a trip of a lifetime. It's our once in a lifetime trip. And I say, no ways, guys. You're going to love this so much that you're going to come back on your 5th wedding anniversary, your 10th wedding anniversary. You're going to bring one day when you have little children, you might bring, if you have children, you might bring them on safari. And there's some great safari options with families, which is another topic for another day. But yeah, and then bring the grandkids, bring, so it's a really memorable and special, and yeah, you'll come back hopefully.
And there is, it sounds cliched, but a lot of people say they get the Africa bug bites them and they just keep coming back. We have a few couples that travel every single year on their anniversary. It's their thing that they do, and it's African safari for them. You know, that's now their thing that they do together. So it does bite, and it's rare that people will only come once.
I can imagine. Is it possible to do that? Like, in terms of, is it possible to go on safari without a huge budget?
Great question. And my answer would be that whilst safaris aren't necessarily the cheapest destination, and there is some logistics involved, and we like to make sure that people are staying in credible places, that are supporting communities and supporting sustainable practices and things like that. And sometimes there is a little bit of a cost to that. We think that they offer really good value for money. And with the exchange rates, that the US dollar is quite strong at the moment to, for example, the South African rand, it's about 18.5 rands to $1. It That makes your dollars go quite far. And so, for the value for money that you can get, you actually can have a pretty good holiday for what I would say is a medium price range kind of holiday. Of course, there's things like planning horizons. There's lots of things to consider. But yes, we think you can have a good holiday with a medium-sized budget. On that, we always suggest our couples use a wedding registry like Honey Fund. Often, so many people have got they've got the gravy boat and they've got the canteen set, and often an experience is a great wedding gift. And so we often refer people onto gift registries where they can get experiences. So whether it's a safari or a honeymoon on safari or a fine dining dinner experience at a superb restaurant in Cape Town, for example, those are nice ways to also counter the cost of a honeymoon.
Yeah, I think in retrospect from my wedding, we really didn't need China. I wish I hadn't been talked into registering for it. And while I love it, I would have much rather put that toward an experience. So I totally agree. Honey Fund, I interviewed Sarah, the CEO or the co-founder on here like a year ago now. She's lovely. And I think she would agree that the experience is worth it. I don't think there's anything else like going to Africa in the world. Of course, I say that as not having been yet. So correct me if I'm wrong.
You'll say it even more when you get back.
I can't wait. Well, Cayley and Michelle, thank you so much for joining me on The Wedding Dish today. Where can our listeners find you online, your website and your social media?
So our website is www.journeysbymerge.com. And then we are just Journeys by Merge on Instagram, on Facebook, LinkedIn. We're everywhere. So you can look us up and we can help you plan the honeymoon of your dreams or just the
Perfect.
romantic trip of your dreams.
Yes, we're not honeymooning anymore. We got married in 2012, but we're still going on a romantic getaway to Africa in the near future.
Well,
I'm with you. And while you all are finding them, if you need a quick link, you can find the link to their website and social media in our show notes and description at theweddingdishpodcast.com. And we'll tag you on social media as well at The Wedding Dish Podcast. Thank you all so much for joining me on the show today. It was so lovely chatting with you. You all are just such a ray of sunshine on my very cold, snowy day in the DC area.
It was lovely chatting to you, Sarah. Thank you for having us.
It's been wonderful chatting.
Until
Thanks, Sarah.
next time. Cheers, everybody.